Okay, this is Mr. Bloom. I'm going over some questions that people had difficulty with on the 10 uh, 4 homework quiz. And most of the other ones you guys all did really great on. Every once in a while people had some funky stuff, but these were consistently frustrating. So let's talk about them. First of all, a scale factor of two similar polygons is given. Remember, scale factor is the same as me talking about perimeter ratio. Okay. Matter of fact, scale factor and perimeter ratios are the same. Okay, find the ratio of their perimeters and the ratio of their areas. Now, scale factor and perimeter ratio are the same, and they asked to do it small to big. So 2 to 7 is my perimeter ratio. It's the same because scale factor and perimeter ratio are the same. A perimeter ratio is considered A to B. An area ratio, and that's the next thing we must find, is that perimeter ratio squared. And it's just that fast, 4 to 49. And we're done with that problem. Notice that that was my area ratio. Now, moving on, same idea here. We have two relationships. These are sides, okay? This is my perimeter ratio, my P ratio, we'll talk about it, okay? My ratio of perimeters. It is 10 to 15, but all ratios have to be reduced. So in order to reduce that, both of them have 5 in it, it's 2 to 3. So my answer here, 2 to 3. Now, they're asking me to compare the first figure to the second. So the first figure, 2, 3. So I've got that order correct. Now, again, area ratio is just my perimeter ratio. Perimeter ratio is A to B. Area ratio is A squared to B squared. Okay, so 4 to 9. And it's first to second, and that's the order, and I'm done. Now, the shapes given are similar. Compare the first figure to the second. You have to read these problems. Order matters. Give the ratio of the perimeter and the ratio of the areas. Well, perimeter, remember, is the same as scale factor. So I should probably not do it that way. But my perimeter ratio is, in this case, 3 to 6. But this is not reduced. So it's 1 to 2. So my area, I take that and I square them, and it's 1 to 4. Okay, so my perimeter is 1 to 2, and my area is 1 to 4. Okay, so those are the things that we've got to do, and most of the time if you got it wrong, it was an order issue. You didn't read the question, so be careful. Now, moving on. Find the scale factor and the ratio of perimeters. Scale factor and the ratio of perimeters is the same darn thing. They tell you what the order is. So right here I am given areas. And remember, area ratio is A squared to B squared. Perimeter ratio is A to B. Okay, so I have been provided an area ratio, and they asked me to do it small to big. So 50 to 72. This is a area ratio. Now, I'm going to reduce this area ratio. This is 25 to 36. This is reduced. This is not my answer. Keep in mind, this is not my answer. I have to go for perimeter ratio. And my perimeter ratio is the square root of 25 and the square root of 36, which is 5 to 6. So scale factor and perimeter ratio is the same, and they asked me to do it small to big. Well, the small number is 5, big number is 6. Small number is 5, big number is 6, and that is my answer for that. Be careful, reread your question. Now, the shapes are similar. Compare the first figure to the second. So 24 to 8. Remember, this is perimeter. How do I know it's perimeter? It is a side relationship. Whether it's the one side or the entire ratio, the entire side, like the entire perimeter, it's the same ratio. Okay, So I reduced 24 and 8, and that is 3 to 1. So that is now reduced. Remember, that is A to B, which is my perimeter ratio, and it's also called my scale factor. Okay, so that's it. Oh, hey, look, I've got my ratio P, and it's first figure, the second. First figure was bigger, so 3 to 1. Now, we also know area ratio. Our area ratio is A squared to B squared. Since my perimeter ratio is 3 to 1, my area ratio is 3 squared to 1 squared, which is 9 to 1. 9 to 1. Now, the area of the smaller figure. Ooh, I got to find the area of the smaller figure. Well, I have the area of the larger figure right there. Well, let's find this answer. So I want to change colors here. So we're going to change colors. We're going to use this one. So on this one, on finding the area of the smaller figure. Well, remember, this is area. And I want to compare apples to apples. And people, what does that mean? I'm going to talk about area ratio. Remember, area ratio, which is 1 to 9, is the reduced ratio of the areas of the two figures. But it's area. This is an area ratio. So now I know when I set this up as a proportion, I have two ratios set equal to each other. I already know the larger ratio is 135. It should go across from the larger number. Now I want to find the smaller one. So I have 9x is equal to 135. Now I just completely and totally put that in my calculator, and I go 135 divided by 9. And that comes out as 15. X is 15. So my smaller figure is 15 centimeters squared. Okay, I put it in there, but it's just darn too small, my blank. Okay, now my last one is very similar to this. The area of a regular octagon is 45. The regular octagon. What's the area of a smaller regular octagon that has sides 1/3 the length of the size of the larger? So this is the larger. Okay, and my perimeter, notice what this is. This is my P ratio, my perimeter ratio is 1 to 3. See how tricky that was? So my area ratio is 1 to 9. Remember, that's perimeter ratio squared. So I already have this 1 to 3, perimeter ratio, area ratio 1 to 9. Area of the larger octagon, the larger. This is the larger, this is the smaller. Smaller octagon, okay, the area of a regular octagon is 45 feet squared. What's the area of a smaller regular octagon? So this is wrong. It should have been smaller. Oops. Okay, should have been smaller. That should have been the word smaller in there. So we apologize for that. So here it is. I have my ratio. The ratio of my two octagons is 1 to 9. That's the area. I have the larger octagon, which is 45. I'm looking for the smaller octagon, so 9x is to 45. That's not a 46, it's 45. And divide by 9x is 5. And that is 5 feet squared. And that goes in right there. Okay, so I hope things are going well. Okay, if you got questions, make sure you contact me. Have yourselves a great day.